Everything you learned about Facebook ad targeting in the last 5 years, basically useless now. And I'm not being dramatic. Meta just rebuilt the entire engine that decides who sees your ads. And it's called Andromeda. And it doesn't care about your carefully crafted audiences, your lookalike stacks, or your interest-based segment. The system now treats all of that as just suggestions. Literally suggestions. It's free to ignore. I'm going to show you what actually changed under the hood, why your creative strategy is now your targeting strategy, and later I'll get to the part about measurement that most advertisers are getting dangerously wrong. But first, you need to understand what was happening before Andromeda flipped the table. So here's how meta ads used to work and why it matters that it changed. You, the advertiser, would define the audience, age, interest, lookalike behaviors, and the algorithm's job was very simple. Find the best ad to show that group. You pick the people, Meta picked the creative. It was audience first, and it worked well enough when tracking was strong and data was plentiful. And then came iOS 14, signal loss, and slow collapse of deterministic targeting. Meta needed a new approach, so they didn't just patch the system, they replaced the entire retrieval layer, the architectural stage that filters millions of ads down to thousands before the auction even starts. They called it Andromeda. And that's when everything broke in the best possible way. If you're kind of a marketer who has spent years perfecting audience segmentation, this is the part that stings. Under Andromeda, creative is the targeting. The neural network now analyzes the systematic and visual data inside your ad, copy, video frames, audio hooks, and uses that to predict who will resonate with. It finds the audience for the creative, not the other way around. So think about what that means. Your media bias targeting inputs are no longer the primary performance lever. The diversity of your creative library is. And I don't mean tweaking headlines on the same static image. I'll get to that distinction, and that matters enormously in a minute. But the immediate takeaway is this. If your creative is generic, Andromeda has nothing to work with. And here's where most advertisers are about to waste a lot of money. They heard creative diversity and started producing 15 variations of the same ad with a different button color and headline swaps. Andromeda doesn't want that. It wants conceptually distinct assets. A raw UGC video, a polished studio image, a text-heavy carousel, a testimonial clip. Each one unlocks a different audience pocket. When you give it variations of the same concept, those ads compete against each other for the same psychographic. You're not expanding reach, you're cannibalizing it. But when you give it genuinely different angles, ad A matches user group A, while ad B simultaneously matches user group B. The system becomes a matchmaker, not a king of the hill optimizer. And that's the shift. And if you're still running 3 ad sets with slightly different hooks on the same footage, you're about to learn a very expensive lesson about what Andromeda considers diversity. Forget everything the media buying gurus taught you about granular account structure. Separate ad sets by age, gone. Split by device, pointless. Interest stacks by funnel stage. Andromeda penalizes that. The system needs a massive data liquidity to function. It's processing millions of creative users combination in milliseconds, and every time you fragment your budget across ad sets, you're starving the engine. Broad targeting now outperforms interest-based targeting in most tests, not because interests don't matter, but because Andromeda already knows them better than you do. You're not adding precision by layering on manual constraints. You're adding handcuffs. And the advertisers seeing the best results might not have the simplest structures, consolidated campaigns, broad audience, and a deep bench of diverse creatives. That's it. But wait, if the algorithm handles everything, does that mean strategy is dead? Not even close. Let me give you the example that makes this click. Say you tell Meta to target golf enthusiasts. Sounds reasonable, right? But here's what you're missing. Andromeda can see the golf enthusiasts are currently behaving like travel enthusiasts because it's February and they're booking spring trips. If you lock the system to the golf interest bucket, it can only find golfers acting like golfers. If you go broad, it finds golfers acting like travelers, cheaper conversions, bigger pool, same buyer intent. The algorithm sees behavioral patterns you literally cannot access from a drop-down menu. And this is what Meta means when they say advantage plus audience treats your input as suggestions, they're being polite. What they mean is your targeting is a starting hint that the system will ignore the moment it finds something better. And for most advertisers, it finds something better almost immediately. Now, here's the part that nobody wants to hear because it's about what Andromeda cannot fix. If you've been hoping Andromeda would rescue a mediocre offer and a leaky funnel, I have some bad news. The algorithm cannot fix bad product market fit. It can't fix terrible unit economics. It can't make someone buy something they don't want. Just because the targeting is smarter, your landing page, your checkout friction, your offer attractiveness, all of that is still on you. And here's the part that should scare you. If you set the wrong optimization objective, Andromeda will effectively deliver garbage. Tell it to optimize for clicks, you'll get clickers who never buy. Optimize for leads without quality signals, you'll drown in junk leads. The system is ruthlessly effective at hitting whatever target you give it. So if the target is wrong, you fail faster and more expensively than ever before. The AI got smarter. The margin for strategic error got thinner. And that brings us to the dashboard and why the numbers you're looking at right now are probably lying to you. Here's the part about measurement. Andromeda uses something called sequence learning. It understands when a user or where a user is in their purchase journey and serves different creatives at different stages. It might show someone an educational video today and a direct response ad tomorrow. Smart, right? But here's the problem. Last click attribution only credits that final direct response ad. The educational video that primed the user, the one Andromeda deliberately served to warm them up, gets zero credit. So what do advertisers do? They pause the underperforming top of the funnel creative and the whole system's efficiency collapses because they just kill the ad that was feeding the funnel. Meanwhile, Meta shortened their attribution window and creation happens outside the measurement window. Your ROAS looks better even when your actual business impact is higher. You're flying blind with a dashboard built for a world that no longer exists. So if you're the kind of marketer who actually wants to get this right, here's the framework. You need 3 layers of measurement, not one. Layer 1 is platform metrics, your Meta dashboard for daily creative optimization, which ads are winning, which aren't. That's tactical. Layer 2 is marketing mix modeling, MMM. It uses statistical regression to correlate your spend with actual revenue, independent of pixel tracking. It captures the lift from Andromeda's broad reach and upper funnel activity that attribution tools completely miss. If Meta reports a 4x ROAS, but your MMM shows 2x, you adjust your bids accordingly. And layer 3 is incrementality testing. Run geolift or conversion lift studies every quarter. The question is simple. Would this customer have bought the product anyway? Andromeda is aggressive at finding converters, and some of them were going to buy regardless. So incrementality separates real growth from credit taking. And these 3 layers, platform metrics for tactics, MMM for strategy, incrementality for truth, here's what this really is about. Andromeda isn't just a meta update. It's a template for every major ad platform over the next 3 years. Google's Performance Max, TikTok's Smart Campaigns, they're all moving towards this AI-directed retrieval where the algorithm finds the audience, not the other way around. The playbook that worked for a decade, audience segmentation, granular structures, last click dashboard, that era is over and it's not coming back. Remember what I said at the top. Everything you learned about targeting is basically useless now. The real question isn't whether your targeting is obsolete. The black box got smarter. The only question left is whether you did too.